What's going on, everybody? I hope you've enjoyed a fantastic weekend and you're getting ready for Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. Super Bowl has finally arrived. And I'm giving you my keys to victory for both the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs for this upcoming Super Bowl. This video will be premiering on Sunday at noon. So just to let you guys know, I'm recording it tonight and it will be premiering at noon on Sunday. My Super Bowl keys to victory for both the Eagles and the Chiefs, as well as the what each team needs to do to be able to hold up that Lombardi Trophy by the time we get to the end of the NFL season. And that's the one thing that's the most sad. As a football fan of over 30 plus years, there's nothing that makes me more sad than the end of the NFL season. I love the NFL. We all love the NFL. We all live, breathe, and everything football. From the X's and O's to the deep passes to the big runs to the big sacks, the turnovers, end of game plays, coaching strategies, everything. Quarterback runs, interceptions, sacks, fumbles, recoveries, big touchdown catches, big touchdown runs, big touchdown picks, pick sixes, fumble recoveries for touchdowns, game-winning touchdowns, game-winning field goals, big-time field goals, punt returns for touchdowns, you name it. We all love it. And unfortunately, tomorrow is a very sad day because the NFL season officially comes to a close on the Super Bowl 57, and we get ready for the offseason. Obviously, as a New York Giants fan, our offseason has already begun a couple of weeks ago when we lost against the Philadelphia Eagles in the conference championship. But let's first start out on where we first got here with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams, for the most part, were the best teams in their specific conference. Both the Chiefs and the Eagles were the number one seeds in each one of their conferences since the beginning of the season. Both these teams played tremendous football from beginning to end. And they won it with great quarterback play, good defensive play, playmakers making plays on the outside. At the same time, we have to wait. Both these teams won because of their line play as well and running the football. Running the football is a big reason why the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs are representing their conferences in the Super Bowl. As well as great quarterback play and as well coaching. And it's no coincidence right now that the two best teams in each conference and both teams finished with a 14-3 record to end their seasons. Both teams did, which earned them a bye going into the divisional round. Both teams didn't have to play in the wild card round. But when they got to the wild card round, when they got to the divisional round, the Eagles have pretty much been dominant for this entire playoff run. They ended up playing against my New York Giants, and the Eagles pretty much dominated that game 38-7 in what was not even a close game at all. The Eagles just ran the ball down the Giants' throats. And then obviously with the Kansas City Chiefs, they won a closer game than anybody expected against the Jacksonville Jaguars in their divisional game, 27-20. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs just did enough. Even when Patrick Mahomes ended up having a high ankle sprain during that game, he just did enough to pull off this victory. And that's what you call moxie from a quarterback. And also very good running by their star young running back out of Rutgers, Isaiah Pacheco. And Travis Kelce doing what Travis Kelce always does, dominating for the Chiefs. And both teams ended up moving on to the conference championship game, in which Philadelphia, once again, they took on the 49ers, who defeated the Cowboys the week before. And then this game is always going to be defined as the game where the 49ers didn't have a quarterback. And the Philadelphia Eagles went out there and they dominated the game. Dominated the game from start to finish. And why did that happen? The lines. The offensive line and the defensive line of Philadelphia stymied San Francisco's running game, stymied their passing game. San Francisco couldn't stop Philadelphia's running game. And Philadelphia cruised to a 31-7 convincing victory in the NFC Championship game over the San Francisco 49ers to make it back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2017. And the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati Bengals played themselves a hell of an AFC Championship game with Patrick Mahomes gutting it out through that entire game. and Kansas City pretty much with the legs of Patrick Mahomes was able to get that big run towards the end to put his team in field goal range to be able to get that game-winning field goal to win the game for them. And Kansas City ended up winning this game 23-20, and the Kansas City Chiefs make their first return to the Super Bowl since they lost back in 2020 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And now we are getting ready for the two best teams in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, who are going to be representing their conferences in Super Bowl 57 in Arizona, Glendale, Arizona. And this should be a very fun game overall. And here are my keys to each team's chances of racing the Lombardi Trophy. First, I'll start with Kansas City. In my opinion, Kansas City needs to do, and I'm going to give at least 3 keys for each team. At least 3 keys. Could be more. For Kansas City, in my opinion, Kansas City, first of all, they need to run that football. Philadelphia's biggest weakness on their defense is stopping the run. They've done it better lately. The Eagles have played a lot better against the run. But I think Philadelphia can really exploit Kansas City. Kansas City can really exploit Philadelphia. My bad. Philadelphia can really get exploited if Kansas City is able to get their running game going with both Jerick McKinnon and, of course, Isaiah Pacheco, and if you want to include former New York Giants wide receiver Kadarius Toney in that running game and gash them up the middle and make Philadelphia have to bring up a safety or a cornerback to handle against that defense. And then if you give Patrick Mahomes some time, he could find Travis Kelce over the middle and he could hit either Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Juju Smith-Schuster or Kadarius Toney or one of those wide receivers in one of these big plays to help open up that offense for Kansas City. But it all starts with the running game for the Chiefs. They have got to get their running game going. That's where it all starts in this football game for Kansas City to win. Second one overall, Chris Jones has got to dominate in the middle of that football field. And Frank Clark, but mostly Chris Jones, has got to find a way to get into the backfield and try to get Jalen Hurts down to the ground. He's going up against a very tough matchup in the Hall of Famer Jason Kelce, as well as interior offensive linemen Isaac Seumalo and Landon Dickerson. 2 of them are Pro Bowlers. 1 of them is also very good. But Chris Jones is going to have to continue to be a dominant force up the middle for the Kansas City Chiefs in order to get pressure on Jalen Hurts and force him into bad throws where the Chiefs can have opportunistic plays and make picks in the middle of the football field. That's where it all starts. We'll have to wait and see if Kansas City can do that. Another key, Kansas City has got to take some deep shots against that Philadelphia Eagles secondary. When it's there, you have to test out Darius Slay and James Bradbury. And even test out slot cornerback Avonte Maddox, who's coming off an injury. Don't be afraid to test those cornerbacks and make them go out there and handle your speed, because Kansas City's got speed as well. Kadarius Toney's quick. Valdez-Scantling, for a bigger receiver, is quick. Juju Smith-Schuster, while he's not elite speed-wise, he does have quickness in and out of his routes, and we know what Travis Kelce can do in the middle of the football field. Take advantage of your speed, Kansas City, even in the running game too. If you want to throw Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon out there in the middle of the field for some short passes and get some big completions. Take advantage of your speed on offense when they are there. And my last key, they've got to protect Patrick Mahomes. That is going to count on that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line that is going to be going up against a ferocious Philadelphia Eagles defensive line and pass rush. Orlando Brown, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Andrew Wiley are all going to have to be on their top level game to be able to keep Patrick Mahomes stand upright. Because with Patrick Mahomes still ailing, even though it's been 2 weeks since he last played, that high ankle sprain is not going to go away immediately. And the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line has got to protect. Got to protect. That's the best way for Kansas City to be able to go out there and take advantage of this Philadelphia Eagles middle of their defense, especially with Travis Kelce. Because the Eagles do have a very good defense, but I think they can be exploited over the middle when you have an elite tight end like Kelce. So that's my Kansas City Chiefs keys to victory. Now I'm going to go to Philadelphia's end of the field. And Philadelphia, where does it all start with? Of course, I'm going to go right to the last key I had, and I'm going to tie it in with the Eagles. Their pass rush has got to get home to Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes has been able to rush, especially on that last play against the Cincinnati Bengals in the conference championship game, where he was able to pick up that big first down. But at the same time, the Eagles' pass rush is ferocious and deep. Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, all these guys can get home. So Philadelphia has got to get home and get Patrick Mahomes either trying to scramble or get him on his back. That is the easiest way for Philadelphia to pull off this victory, is make sure Patrick Mahomes has to scramble out there and make him uncomfortable on the football field. Key number 2. It's got to be the running game, and that's including Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and some of these bootleg runs, some of these big design runs you can get for Hurts, and of course, running the ball up the middle with Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, and of course, Boston Scott. Philadelphia Eagles have a very good running game when it gets going, and you have a very powerful offensive line that can bully the defensive line of the opposing team. If Philadelphia can get their offensive line bullying that Kansas City Chiefs defensive line, including stymieing Chris Jones, and they're able to run the ball consistently, that's going to open up some big plays for their playmakers on the outside and in the middle of the field. So Philadelphia has got to get their running game going in this game and get it going immediately. Key number 3. Dallas Goedert has got to be a big factor for the Eagles. You know, for Kansas City's sake, they're going to try to take Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown out of this game because they know how big of a threats those two guys are. Not saying that Goedert is not a threat too, because he is. But I think that the Chiefs would rather take their 2 big wide receivers out of this game and take their chances with Goedert. Goedert has got to make them pay over the middle of the football field. Goedert has got to make the Philadelphia Eagles pay over the middle of the football field. And there's a good chance they could. Because Goedert is one of the upper echelon tight ends. I would argue the Eagles have an edge at tight end, but I have to give it to Kelce because he is a little bit better and more seasoned. But Goedert is one of the best tight ends in football. And Goedert could be a factor. So Goedert has got to do his damage over the middle of the football field for the Eagles and exploit that Kansas City Chiefs linebacker and safety combination over the middle. And their last key? Special teams. Philadelphia is apparently going to be activating their kicker. Their punter, I mean. And Brenton Covey is apparently not going to play due to injury. And Greg Ward has been called up from the practice squad and is going to serve, it looks like, as the punt returner / kick returner. Philadelphia has struggled at times with their special teams. They have got to be able to take advantage of this and get into good field position to be able to help out their offense. And I'm going to now, those are my keys to victory. Here are my X factors for both teams. My X factor player for both teams. First, I'm going to start with the Chiefs, and my Chiefs X factor, I'm going to go with Kadarius Toney. The little old former Giant. Because this guy, when he's healthy, and we all know as Giants fans, it's a big if, but when Tony is healthy, he can be a mismatch playmaker for that Chiefs offense, whether you line him up in the backfield, whether you throw the ball to him on the outside with blockers in front, whether you hit him on some slot plays, and you allow him to break some ankles over the middle of the football field and use his agility and his athleticism to create big plays for Kansas City. You can line him up all over the field, outside, slot, backfield, screen plays, whatever you want to do. Tony is the ultimate gadget player. I think he's going to be the biggest X factor for what they do in that Kansas City offense. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, my X factor for them is Quez Watkins. Everybody talks about all the big players on that Philadelphia Eagles team. Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. The offensive line. I'm going with their third wide receiver, Quez Watkins. This guy has got blazing speed in the slot or if you play him outside. If this guy can get open over the top and create a big play, this could be a big, big, big help to the Philadelphia Eagles if Watkins can make some big plays for this team on the outside or in the slot. Either way, I think that this is going to be a terrific football game. Makes sense that these are the two best teams in the NFL that are vying for that Lombardi Trophy this year. But if I honestly had to pick, and as much as it makes my skin crawl to say it, as much as it makes me feel ill, I have to pick the Philadelphia Eagles in a non-biased way. I think the Eagles are just a better team than the Chiefs, and it all starts with the lines. I am picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl this year by the final score of 35-24. Because I just think that Eagles team is going to be too deep. Too deep. Sorry. I have to be non-biased on this one. I can't put my Giants homer on and say, I just think the Eagles are a better team. But you never know. It's the Super Bowl. Anything can happen. So why don't you guys let me know in the comment section who you think is going to be. Oh, and my MVP I think is going to be in this game. My MVP, I'm going with an underrated player. I'm going with Hassan Reddick. I think Hassan Reddick will win the MVP. I think he'll get a couple of sacks in this game against Patrick Mahomes. But let me know in the comment section who you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl. Who are your X factors? Who you think is going to win this game? And who is your MVP for Super Bowl 57? You guys let me know. And hit that like button if you haven't already. And sub up to NYGJeffyT85. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday night. This video will be premiering, remember, at noon tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Eat all the wings you want. Eat the pizza. Drink all the beer. Whatever you want. Soda. Brownies, cookies, desserts. Just enjoy the Super Bowl halftime. Just enjoy the Super Bowl game. And enjoy what is the finale of the 2022 NFL season before we all get ready for the NFL offseason, free agency, combine, the NFL draft, free agent offseason workouts, free agent offseason stuff before NFL offseason begins. Thank you very much. Everybody enjoy your Saturday night and your Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday. Take it easy. And for one last time during the 2022 NFL season, let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.